Hey guys, Tim OKeefe, Spider Juice Technologies, aka Coach Tim. Hey, I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you follow me through my podcast, you'll notice that I mix my business stuff with my coaching stuff. And the reason is on purpose because, one of the hallmarks of a genius, if you want to say you can be a genius like me, seriously though, is that you're able to learn cross-contextually. Have you ever talked to somebody and you kind of got a little esoteric and you lost them, right? You lost in the conversation, especially if it's business related. If you start getting all hairy-fairy, when it's business, you can really lose a person. You're supposed to be talking very analytically, linearly about numbers, and you've lost them. And but true humanity is in the emotions. I mean, we sell through emotions. So it's kind of a little paradox, right? So some of the things I'm going to be covering in my future podcast are just along these lines, and getting into some of the things like adversity, things I've learned from football that's affected my business life as well as my married life, my family life, my parenting, and vice versa. Things I've learned from parenting that actually a lot of the stuff I've learned from my son in parenting him that I've used as a coach, believe it or not. And so that's cross-contextual learning and use of information. Joseph Rizzio in one of my podcasts advocated reading non-coaching books if you're a football coach. So a lot of us business people will like to read business books, and that's great. But how many great novels have you read? How many things that have you participated, consumed, that actually stretch your mind to new perspectives, new ideas? And it's from those perspectives, those new places, that you can create and recreate your business. I'm right now in the process of recreating my business in a huge way. A lot of it from a hell of a lot of adversity. I mean, a lot of adversity. I mean, I'm not trying to whine or anything like that. There's people that have it a hell of a lot worse. But man, the old OKeefe fam has taken it on the chin once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times, 5 times. 10 times you're out. But man, no, seriously, this a lot of adversity. And one of the things that I want to drive home and I'm going to leave you with is, the other day I was talking with my wife, actually yesterday. Today's Sunday, if you can't tell my Sunday non-shaved look. Yesterday, I drove for, I think, probably the 20th time this year to San Bernardino County, about a 80 to 100 mile drive depending. The last couple months I've been to the hospital and to a facility to visit my father. It's depressing. I mean, he had a stroke. He can't talk. He's extremely frustrated. And I'm trying to be a good son, and I'm trying to make him feel better, and I can't even communicate with him. So it's kind of a bummer, even though I'm trying to, I want to be with my dad and whatnot. It's kind of a bummer. It's a downer. So I'm telling my wife, I'm like, plus to get there, we got to drive like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Yesterday was 3. We got into 2 huge traffic jams, and we're talking. And every time we go, and she's a doll for even going and supporting me, supporting my dad, but really supporting me, we go and we have a ball. We end up going to some cool spot on the way home or on the way out there to eat, just in some, place that we would never go otherwise. And we'll eat out there and have lunch or breakfast or just coffee, whatever. And we talk. And I said, look, this is in a weird way. I said, I actually look forward to these Saturdays. And I said, it's not because I'm looking forward to go seeing my dad in such a horrible state. I said, it's because I get to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours uninterrupted with you. Or I can just frame it as, oh God, I got to drive 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever in LA San Bernardino traffic, right? It's perspective. Can be sound syrupy, and I'm definitely one that just syrupy stuff, positive thinking stuff can drive me nuts, because I think there is a time to, hey, we got to get analytical. But the reality of it is, and what we were talking about yesterday was, every adversity is just a meaning. It's the meaning we put on it. And I've learned through my mentors, guys like Rex Sykes, guys like Jonathan Alfeld. Jonathan Alfeld, we disagree on everything almost in politics. But there's a great example. Take the politics out of our conversation, out of the context, and we're pals. I mean, we meet up on a lot of things, right? And I'm not just, that's true with a lot of things. And so when we can take one context and go to the other, or another, or many others, and learn from those, even when it's, and that's, looking at something from a perspective of curiosity. When you have a disagreement, how, and where can you meet up at? And again, I'm not trying to sound kumbaya and all that. I hate that crap. Because it so quickly gets consumerized, I like to call it, and meaning that it gets washed down, it gets, the meaning is lost. But here's the bottom line, guys, and forget about, maybe, oh gosh, the positive thinking thing. Law of attraction, I'm going to be rich, just putting it out there to the universe and all that. Well, there's some truth to that, but the consumeristic side of it is kind of watered it down, has kind of made it meaningless when we're trying to make it have meaning. The freeway sucks, or it's a great opportunity to hang out with my wife, to get closer. When can I spend an hour and a half talking with her uninterrupted? I can't do it at a dinner, right? They're not going to be happy if I'm hanging out an hour and a half to 2 hours. I can't do it, at a movie, because we're watching a movie. You can go on maybe a picnic or something, but you get the point. These are, in my view, opportunities we haven't had since we first started dating. And I don't even know then if we just hung an hour and a half straight, so, or the freeways suck. The point is, it's my choice. It's your choice. Adversity is our choice. I'm going to talk about a lot of the cool stuff and learnings that I've learned lately in the last year on the podcast. I still want to do interviews, and if you're an expert at something in business or in coaching, I definitely want to interview you. But I'm also going to go all talk radio for a little bit and talk about some of the stuff like I just talked about right now, from mirror neurons and how that can make you a better football coach. Wow. That's weird. I'm going to talk about how it can make you a better business person, how it can make you a better husband or wife. the difference between the sexes. Something that is abused by marketers to bend it to whatever reality they want to make it. I'm going to talk about novelty, right? Novelty. I'm going to talk about persuasion. My friend Chase Hughes, who is he's a trainer for interrogation to secret agencies that are probably listening right now. No, he's basically analyzed and diagrammed in a very thick, rich manual called the Ellipsis Manual. Ideas of persuasion, not ideas, but I should say processes to be more accurate. And he says, really the most important thing in persuasion is authority. And there's ways to get authority in persuasion. I'm going to play with that a little bit. So often we talk about influence as persuasion and salesmanship, and we go from maybe the old school, closing. Robert Ringer, I think he's the old-time hardcore closer book, but to more esoteric methods, and some of the guys that I've interviewed, from Tom and Kim with the anchoring or triggers, which we can use in coaching, which was really, if you aren't learning contextually, or non-contextually I should say, is really what you could be doing when you market and sell and date and whatever else, parent, booking hotels. Okay, I'm done. Guys, again, Jonathan was interviewed and we were all over the place on influence, so there's tons of stuff there. Kendrick Cleveland, Mark Ryan, etc., just tons of stuff. But they go, all of them go into usually some sort of technique of that's specifically going down a line of technique. Whereas the authority model is you walk in and it's done deal, right? If you've ever gotten a referral, it's almost scary when they say, yeah, just tell me the price. I don't need to hear all the other bullshit. I've had people tell me that. Just, what's the price? So what do I got to pay and how do I do it? Well, those guys scare me because it's almost too easy, because they don't have any defined expectations, and at some point they will start wondering, what is it that I'm getting, when what they're getting, the big sale, I'm talking about SEO, is 3 months, 6 months down the road, sometimes a year, and a month later they're thinking they were going to be rich beyond their wildest dreams because it was referred to them and you never went through the whole thing. So authority is important, but also use it wisely. There's lots of ways to create authority. I'm doing it right now. I might be dressed a little bit better and better shaved, but that's how I roll. So seriously though, this is the stuff I want to tackle for you. I'm going to bounce back and forth from business to coaching, and attempt to point out when it works in one way or another. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to close. Jim Mora, who I interviewed, runs a huge football organization. There's a lot of money made. In fact, I don't know how much, but it's a ton. right? So you could think of it as a business. In fact, if you look at any athletic department in the BCS, they really are a business. They operate outside of the school. So a lot of people will say, well, how is it fair that these guys are making this kind of money? You know, they're taking from the students. They're really not. They're actually running a business outside of the school, or as maybe you can say it's an extension of the school. And it operates on it these days on its own budgets, so that a guy like Jim Mora is the biggest CEO that I know, and I know some guys that are CEOs that do a lot of business, let's just say, and he's the biggest one if we call it a business. Well, he gave me, in the interview on the podcast, he gave me a ton of processes, outlines. I'll give you one. It's called the Bruin Filter. It's what he will and will not accept on his football team before he even recruits you. And they're not necessarily like you have to be 6'4" and run a 4.140, if that means anything to you, and bench press 900 pounds. There is a character that he wants on his team. Well, would that work if you did that? You know, you have my company, Spider Juice Technologies, the Spider Juice Technologies filter, right? I don't let this into my company. If it's an employee, I don't let this into my company as business. I only want this kind of business in my company, right? And you define it. It makes you more on purpose. And the more on purpose we are, the more effective we are. So guys, I'm going to leave it with that. I wanted this to be short, but as usual, I go long. Check out the podcast. All these very specific processes are there for you, and I'm going to add more. So check it out, enjoy, and enjoy your Sunday. Thanks.